Hello and thank you for joining us today at Distracted by Life. Our podcast is all about making change within yourself and your relationships. We share conversations, stories, and explore ideas coming from our lifelong journey of the high points and especially the low points where we learn to face our fears or cope with pain, loss, and failure. We do this in a discovery quest to establish patterns around our past and understanding whether we are tripping up from our past or being held hostage by it. We work on identifying ways to move forward, aligning our core values, and unlocking the keys to self-awareness, self-acceptance, self-compassion, and letting go of what is not serving you positively in life. A better you is always there, ready to explore in a new world. So let's begin. Everybody experiences challenges. It's how you react to those challenges that determine whether you'll be successful or not. How about we unpack some of the setbacks and insights a little more with Amal? What are some of your thoughts, perhaps wisdom, insights that you'd like to share with us on setbacks?
Hi, I actually have few thoughts on the matter for sure. Frankly, setbacks are universal, just like failures are universal. Setbacks are universal, but I also see them as the pathway for growth. If you do something, do it with a passion and purpose. The best way to prepare for whatever the future holds is to actually do everything to the best of your ability. There will always be setbacks, and you might have to go against the grain for years. The experiences we value most in life are often the most challenging. They push you out of your comfort zone and help you grow. Sometimes people experience setback after setbacks. That's what I mean about against the grain for years. They don't see a sunshine or a rainbow on sight. It's just one after another. And that can make anyone actually lose hope and kind of just gives up completely. But when you are looking at them from a complete cluster failure, you will give up. But when you look at them, and I'm not saying that this is an easy process. It's a tough one because when you experience a setback and you lose everything, it's very hard for you to actually see the rainbow. You can't see those clear skies when you're you just can't. You have to. This is where mindfulness and meditation practice comes to light, because it teaches you to meet the moment as it arises non-judgmentally and actually see what it's trying to tell you.
As opposed to the negative thoughts you instantly go through your
Yes,
head.
because mindfulness, meditation and mindfulness, it teaches you gotta meet those emotions and you can't run away from them. And that means it requires you to go through do a self-compassionate inquiry where you're trying to unpack what are the learnings in the midst of this that you're dealing with, really. So at the end of the day, you have to actually be able to look at it from that perspective. Yes, it's a setback. So when you are stuck in places, for example, there were a lot of life transition, quite a lot for me. And I didn't even pay attention to those learnings early on. And I'm talking about, this is, I would say, about 10 years ago. I didn't see where the learnings at all, never seen it, because I've never looked for it. And so to me, my life from the outside looked like, oh my God, setback after setback after setback. In a not so polite way, my mind was going.
Okay, let's try to avoid getting this one banned. So screw up after screw up after screw up.
Yes.
Yeah, I've got a lot of editing to do in post. Okay, go ahead.
So when you look at it from this perspective, you're just looking at the negative, the same one we spoke about in the previous episode about failure not final. You look at it only from a negative perspective, and so you just, it's a screw up. That's it. That's all it is. So the experiences we value the most in life are all often the most challenging. And that is so true, because after I passed through those setbacks, when I looked back, the most growth I've done on a personal and professional level came totally from those very setback, the ones that pushed me out of my comfort zone and helped me grow.
I guess my question to you is, how does one overcome the setback? How do you move forward?
You have to keep pushing and adjusting. You gotta show up and help others. If you're experiencing hard time, just keep showing up and adding value.
That gets hard after a while, though.
I know, but when you are adding value, when you over deliver in every relationship, whether it's a business or personal, until you focus more on what's ahead rather than what's behind you. The reason why I say show up, you gotta keep showing up, because setback will hold you back. It will bury you. But if you keep getting back up and showing up and adding value, whether on a business setting or a professional setting or a personal level, it helps you take yourself out of your own narrow-mindedness of I am a failure or this is a major setback, and it helps you focus more ahead of what's to come and your ability. Because when you are actually focusing on something outside of yourself, outside of that failure or setback, you're using your skills and talent somewhere else where you're not realizing you're getting yourself out of the funk you got yourself into in the that screw up in your head. So you're not focused, rather than you're looking behind and saying, oh my God, setback. Oh my God, I can't believe I did this. I failed it. You're moving forward. You're moving away from that setback. You're finding something else that you can add value, and it makes you feel good inside. Focus on what you can control, basically. Sometimes things fall apart or break up. Focus on something you can do or fix. No matter how small it is, it really does matter. It counts.
Like low-hanging fruit.
Yes, and break them down into like small manageable tasks, to complete them one by one. And then take the time to appreciate each accomplishment along the way. If you do, you actually will make it through and come out on the other side. So
I just want to interrupt for a second. So focusing on the future, keeping your focus on the future would avoid the setback, which could lead to, my favorite word again, rumination.
Yes.
So focus on the future will get you through it.
When you are involved with something where you're adding value, you're not too consumed with your own setback and failure, right?
Yes.
And then in that process, you might discover you have other hidden skills and talent that you did not pay attention to, or you didn't give it airtime or space to explore. It really is about just putting things into perspective, moving forward, showing up, adjusting. You will always have to adjust your plan or your goal, because sometimes it's not going to always go according to plan. 99% it actually doesn't always go according to plan.
That's true.
And have faith, act, take those actions. I have encountered many setbacks, as I mentioned, in my personal life and career choices, actually, that left me struggling financially and wondering how I would make it many times over, actually. Faith is what has allowed me to overcome these obstacles, because faith requires you to trust that everything will work out, even though you may not know how. No matter what life actually throws at you, it's an incredible opportunity to grow. Yes, granted, not easy to see it that way, because it requires you to pause and be able to reflect on it. It's an opportunity for new learning, something that you need to master that you haven't crossed path with yet, or even call it a shadow or a demon you need to meet head on, face it, because you got to overcome it. Because life journey itself it's about these teaching moments, and the situation will keep rising up and coming up if you have not faced and dealt with it. You got to bring all these shadows forward. There are shadows for us, that for each person, for each individual, that we don't want to face. Some of them are ugly, but then we don't even know why they're ugly. So it's about that mindfulness pause
Or uglier than what they really are.
Sure, but you know what? They're there to tell you something, to teach you something.
Yes.
So in order to move on with life and get somewhere, might as well pause, face it, deal with it, figure it out, and move on. It's like a trigger. A trigger, anything, if you keep facing these triggers, let's say they happen to be the same trigger every single time, the pattern is there. What's the pattern? It's that one trigger that keeps coming up. Any person can trigger that specific trigger, the situation, that irritation for you. So what does that tell you? That tells you it has a lot of power over you because you haven't dealt with it emotionally, mentally, physically, everything. That's where I say again, mindfulness and meditation practice. I'm not saying that they are the only reasons and ways and solutions to deal with things, but they are one of the resources and tools that you can internally build to help you to meet different scenarios and situations and discover. Because it's that solitude and silence where you actually get to meet yourself, the real you, the authentic you, without the labels that the world put on you, without the expectation that you let the world and, let's say, family members or internal forces puts on you. It's meeting yourself completely real and raw and authentic. No matter what life throws at you, it really is the opportunity, incredible opportunity to grow. It comes down to how you perceive those challenges and what you do about them. To keep a positive mindset and reframe those challenges into your greatest gifts. Again, as I mentioned about the triggers and the challenges and all that, you would really have to reframe those challenges and see them as greater gifts for you. Finding meaning in the challenges and take actions to make things go your way. Because the last thing you want to do is you see what the issues are and the triggers are and you don't take actions. What's the next step? What you can do? Find others, again, who encourage you. As I mentioned in my previous podcast about failure not final, is about finding that support system. Surround yourself with people who will encourage you and enrich your life. They will bring value. Because we all have circles of friends and colleagues and companions and whatnot. But who are the people that really, truly bring value and encourage you and enrich your life? They're not 10 friends. There are actually very few you'll find in your life that do that. You can handle more than you think. I know some people, most of us see setback and I can't do it. This is too much. This is like endless. It keeps happening over and over and over. But when hardship and losses hit, you learn the true meaning of perspective. When I face challenges, I remember the strength it took me to get through that time. On a personal level, I definitely went through setbacks, and I still do, even as a coach. But the different now, because I know better and I studied and I practice, now I know how to reframe my thoughts and also work with those setbacks, because it does bring me back to another time where I've had a hardship or a major loss, and the strength that I had in me to get through that time. And it puts things into perspective, really. It also shows me to find important lessons in every challenge if I actually look for them. Because 10 years ago, I wouldn't look for these. I didn't pay attention. I didn't even know anything about mindfulness and meditation. Now with the coaching and with the practice and learning about mindful and meditation and actually doing that practice on a daily basis, I got to learn to get there, to look for where are the lessons in these setbacks. And you just have to really look for them rather than just play the victim. Yes, because before I did play the victim. Setback, I lost this happened, whatever, and then you're a victim. This is just become of me. Again, identifying with the setback or the failure. But when you remove yourself and not make that your identity, failure is not your identity, and you see it's a setback, this is the scenario for what it is. What's the learning? What can I do next the next time? What can I do better or differently the next time? It takes a lot of determination, and faith and trust in yourself as well, to believe in your ability. It also reminds me of the impermanence of life. Nothing stays forever. We gotta remember that. The impermanence of life. Nothing stays forever. Not failure, not even life itself. So make the most of it and stop sweating the small stuff. Also boost your expertise. Self-learn and learn from experts. We all actually need mentors in our life. I'm talking about the often overlooked mental, emotional, spiritual, and even physical daily growth that is required to keep pace with the innovation that you inspire through your work. You can't keep pace if you can feed and nutrition your, mental and emotional, spiritual, and even physical ability. Recommitting to your personal development is actually very important. This is something I do on a daily basis and have helped me huge in my life. That's what got me out of the failure is final, the setback, the victim mentality, and all those negative thoughts. I feel a lot lighter, at peace. Even when there are triggers, I am now fully aware those are triggers. And I'm actually pausing to figure out why they're coming up again. What haven't I dealt with yet that this is coming up? From before, I never used to pay attention, didn't bother, didn't know much about it. Recommitting to your personal development and sustaining the energy to move forward from setback. That is what's important, because personal development is what's going to help you overcome the setback and the failures and help you with the growth. The growing pain. That's what you're dealing with. My final thoughts. Failure should never ever make you more averse to risk. In fact, it should only embolden you to take bigger chances as long as they are actually well researched. There is a plan and intelligently planned, actually. Don't let failure stop you on your tracks. You still have a goal to achieve. The great irony in life that those who succeed the most are the ones who have failed the most. What makes these people successful is that they refuse to give up. Their failure actually strengthens their faith in themselves to persevere and to work harder to make the next try an even better one. Resilient people. You have this same power. Let it guide you to your greatness. I hope this episode inspire you to push harder and get back up again. Thank you for tuning in. You make the journey worthwhile. Until next time, keep your chin up. The best has yet to come. Thank you.
Well, thanks, Amal. And thank you all for joining us here at Distracted by Life. If you're interested to learn more, check out our podcasts, of course, or hop online to Amal's website at amalcandido.com, where she talks about her coaching world, covering life, leadership, and mindfulness, including links to other popular podcasts and to her books as well. And with that said, stay tuned for our next episode. And from Amal and myself, thanks again, and talk to you soon.